I once thought I had a perfect relationship. We talked about the future and built dreams together. But on that fateful day, I uncovered information that shattered everything. My partner, the love of my life, had betrayed me with my so-called best friend. As if that weren't enough, they also planned to take everything I cherished. How could they do this to me? What was I supposed to do now? Follow me as I recount my journey of heartbreak and betrayal, and my fight to reclaim my life. On the day my wife threw a baby's welcome party for a child from an affair, I spontaneously got married. Eleanor Caldwell got drunk one night and became pregnant with an intern's child. By the time I found out, her baby bump was already 3 months along. The woman knelt before me, her face etched with guilt, pleading, "Ethan, I am sorry. I drank too much during the business dinners that day, which is why I mistook him for you. I swear it was just that one time. Please don't be angry. I'll get rid of the baby in my baby bump immediately, and then send him abroad. He'll never bother you again." After 10 years of courtship, I believed her. 6 months later, I returned from a business trip and went for a physical at the hospital, where I unexpectedly saw the intern embracing a heavily pregnant Eleanor Caldwell. Seeing me, she immediately pulled him behind her. "Ethan, he's still young, and I took his virginity. I have to take responsibility for him, even though I can't give him a legitimate status. I want the baby in my baby bump to be with him, for the sake of our years together. Promise me you won't make things difficult for him, okay?" In that moment, looking at the woman I had loved for 10 years, I felt a weariness I had never known before, so I didn't cry or make a scene. Instead, I calmly replied, "Fine," then I immediately cancelled the IVF treatment. While waiting in line, I dialed a number that had been silent for a long time. "I am planning to get a new wife. Are you in?" The other person froze, taking a long moment to respond. "Are you serious? Ethan Vance, don't joke around. You know I've been waiting for this day for a long time." I calmly replied, "Yes, seriously. Come pick me up in Coastal Bay in 3 days. Remember to bring your necessary identification." After the call ended, the hospital's paging system called my name. "Mr. Vance, your sperm quality has returned to normal. You can proceed with the IVF." The scene one had just witnessed in the hallway flashed through my mind. Eleanor Caldwell leaned intimately against the young intern beside her, her face alight with the joy of impending motherhood, and the baby in her baby bump wasn't mine. The tears I'd suppressed could no longer be held back, and I shook my head. "I am not doing it. My wife, she's already dead." The doctor gave me a sympathetic look, no longer trying to persuade me, and cancelled my IVF treatment scheduled for 2 days later. As I left the office, I passed the ultrasound room, and clearly saw Eleanor Caldwell lying on the bed, while the man kissed her baby bump. Perhaps it was cool. She let out a surprised gasp, then shyly nestled into the man's arms. The doctor nearby, seeing this, commented on how good their relationship was. Eleanor Caldwell nodded. "Yes, he's young, but he takes great care of me." As she spoke, the tenderness in her eyes pierced me deeply. There was a time when she spoke of me with the same affection, but now it was all given to another man. I couldn't bear to watch any longer and fled as if in a panic. It wasn't until I got into the car that the tears finally slid silently down my cheeks. Eleanor Caldwell and I were childhood sweethearts, who built everything from nothing. We once nestled together in a 10-square-meter cramped studio apartment, where she swore I would be her only one for life. I always knew a woman's vows couldn't be trusted, yet back then, I foolishly believed her. Over the years, the company gradually got on track, but my excessive alcohol consumption from years of business dinners led to a low sperm count. On my very first day of treatment, I ran into Eleanor Caldwell, and that intern in the obstetrics and gynecology department. The woman immediately knelt on the ground, begging me tearfully, saying she had made a mistake. She claimed it was just a moment of drunken folly that led to that absurd night. In that moment, I felt as if I'd forgotten how to breathe, biting down hard on my lip. After a long while, I suppressed the wrenching pain in my heart, and spoke, "Eleanor Caldwell, I forgive you." But what she didn't know was that I would only forgive her that one time. So when I ran into them today, I knew our marriage was over. My thoughts settled, and I changed course, heading to the law firm to personally draft the divorce agreement. It was already evening when I got home. Eleanor Caldwell eagerly opened the door and embraced me. "Ethan, where have you been? I called your cell phone, but you didn't answer." The moment she got close, I smelled a pungent perfume on her. It was precisely the sandalwood scent I detested most. I subtly moved away and said flatly, "Nothing much, just stopped by the law firm on the way." Eleanor Caldwell's brows furrowed. "Next time, Just have Kevin run that errand. You don't need to bother yourself with such trivial matters. Before she could finish, I coldly interrupted her. Eleanor Caldwell, let's get a divorce. She looked up at me in disbelief. What did you say? You want to divorce me? Just for this trivial matter? I told you, what happened between him and me was just an accident. Now he wants to keep the baby. I thought, since you have a low sperm count, why not let me have the child? Once it's born, we can bring it back for you to raise, and then send him abroad. It wouldn't be too late. When I heard Eleanor Caldwell suggest bringing back the child she had with another man for me to raise, I felt a knot in my chest, and my fingers instinctively tightened around the medical report in my bag. I am not joking. Here is the divorce agreement. Take a look. Eleanor Caldwell's face suddenly turned cold. Ethan Vance, are you throwing a tantrum with me? I've already explained it very clearly to you. Nothing will change, and well, even have a child. Isn't that good? Ethan Vance, I am really tired today. Can you please stop being so unreasonable? I couldn't help but want to laugh. Now that she had cheated, my reaction was considered unreasonable. I shook my head and placed the divorce agreement in front of her. No, Eleanor Caldwell, I find it repulsive. The moment I said that, her temper instantly flared. Repulsive. Ethan Vance, do you have any idea how many men out there are waiting for me to get into their beds? It was just this one time. Why can't you be more magnanimous? As she spoke, she tore the divorce agreement in front of her to shreds. I am telling you, I won't agree to a divorce. Never. Besides, Ethan Vance, look at yourself. You're 30 now, and you have a low sperm count. Who else would want you besides me? I am just going to pretend this never happened. Don't ever bring it up again. With that, she slammed the door shut and left, while I quietly picked up the fragments from the floor by myself. Just as I finished, my phone vibrated. The sender had sent 2 large diamonds for me to choose from. I glanced at them and replied, the left one. I then took off the wedding ring I had worn for 7 years and threw it into the trash can. The next morning, I went to the company to hand over my work. I was just about to leave. My assistant, Mark, rushed in, saying a client wanted to see me, so he took me to a private club. Upon opening the door, I saw Eleanor Caldwell standing in the center, holding a large bouquet of roses. All around were people I knew well. Even Aunt Carol, who usually disliked me, was present. Eleanor Caldwell took a step forward, her face full of remorse. Ethan, I was wrong. I said the wrong things in a rush yesterday. Today is our 7th wedding anniversary. Can you forgive me? Seeing my silence, Aunt Carol grumbled impatiently in my ear. All right. So Eleanor got pregnant with someone else's child. What's the big deal? Besides, it's your own fault for being infertile. You can't blame her. She's already apologized to you. What more do you want? Ethan Vance, a man should know when to advance and when to retreat. I gave a bitter laugh, just about to speak, that I didn't want anything except a divorce, when Eleanor Caldwell's peripheral vision caught sight of my empty finger. Ethan, where's our wedding ring? Did you forget to wear it? I just bought you a new one. As she spoke, she began searching on herself, but a man's voice came from behind. The ring is with me. I turned around. Eleanor Caldwell had already taken a step towards him. Why are you here? Didn't you say you were busy with work today? The man put a hand on her waist. I saw the ring on your bedside table, and thought you'd need it today, so I brought it over. Eleanor, I am a little thirsty. Could you get me a glass of water? Eleanor Caldwell hurried to find a waiter for water, while he walked over to me. Hello, Ethan Vance. I am Tyler. I didn't respond. He opened the ring box in front of me. I looked, and coincidentally, it was identical to the one on his own finger. Ethan Vance, this is the ring Eleanor had custom made for your 7th wedding anniversary. After speaking, he handed the ring to me. I didn't take it. The next second, the ring dropped to the floor, and he knelt directly in front of me. Ethan Vance, it's my fault. I shouldn't have been intimate with Ms. Caldwell when I was drunk. I truly didn't mean to, but I don't want anything else. I just beg you to let her have the baby. I'd even be willing for it to be adopted under your name. Tears instantly welled up in his eyes, as if he had suffered some enormous injustice. When Eleanor Caldwell returned, she saw this scene. The cup in her hand shattered on the floor. She rushed over to gently help Tyler up, then looked at me, with a coldness I had never seen before. Ethan Vance, if you have any complaints, direct them at me. Why are you making things difficult for him? The protectiveness in Eleanor Caldwell's eyes was all too obvious. I knew that even though I had done nothing, I had already been condemned in her eyes. I couldn't be bothered to explain. I turned to leave, but Aunt Carol rushed forward and slapped me across the face. Useless. I thought you were a reasonable person. I can't believe he's so malicious, making him kneel before you. Let me tell you, he and Eleanor's child will be born into the Caldwell family. If anything goes wrong, I will never forgive you. The sudden force sent me stumbling back against the giant wine tower behind me. In an instant, all the wine glasses crashed down on me, countless shards of glass cutting into my body. Eleanor Caldwell froze, instinctively wanting to come and help me up. But Tyler, beside her, immediately clutched his baby bump. Ah, my baby bump hurts so much, Eleanor. I feel terrible, come save me. The woman, who had been about to stand up straight, instantly crouched down, helped him up, and left without a backward glance. Meanwhile, I lay on the floor, listening to Aunt Carol's mocking remarks, and looked towards the wedding portrait on the big screen. When Eleanor Caldwell was 23, she told me, "Ethan, I must marry you. If, after we're married, I ever make you bleed or cry, I swear I'll atone with my life." But the 30-year-old Eleanor Caldwell no longer saw me, even if I were to bleed or cry in front of her. How ironic. After a long while, I suppressed the pain, stood up, and limped to a taxi to go to the hospital. As they bandaged me, every touch made me tremble from the pain. Meanwhile, two nurses nearby were chatting. "Have you heard? In the penthouse suite, Ms. Caldwell is simply spoiling him rotten. The moment he said he was in pain, she had all the city's luxury goods brought to the ward for him to choose from." "Oh, I know. I was there when she first found out she was pregnant." Ms. Caldwell just burst into tears. They must really be in love. I looked down at the countless wounds on my body, and chuckled bitterly. So, whether someone loved you or not was so painfully obvious. But it didn't matter. I didn't want her anymore anyway, because the hospital was crowded. It was late at night by the time my wounds were dressed and I got home. I opened the door to see Tyler sitting on the sofa I had personally chosen. He quickly stood up. "Ethan Vance is back. Eleanor is cooking a light snack for me in the kitchen. Would you like a bowl?" Before I could speak, Eleanor Caldwell arrived, having heard the commotion. "Ethan, the doctor said I've been experiencing some prenatal depression lately and haven't been sleeping well, so I thought I'd have him stay with me at home for a few days. I promise, I'll take him away once my due date arrives. You." Before she could finish, I pulled out the blank divorce papers from my pocket. "Fine, but you need to sign this." Eleanor Caldwell froze, just about to look it over. When Tyler spoke up, "Eleanor, I am hungry. When will the light snack be ready?" Hearing him, the woman hastily signed it, then turned and went to the kitchen. I stood rooted to the spot, watching her hands, which I had always protected so well, clumsily stirring. In 7 years of marriage, this was the first time she had cooked. "Ethan Vance, are you jealous?" Eleanor said she'll be taking care of all the daily routines for me and the baby from now on. I turned my head and saw the provocative and triumphant look in Tyler's eyes. I just felt disgusted, because the home Eleanor Caldwell once said belonged only to the two of us had ultimately changed. So I quickly went upstairs, intending to pack my things and leave immediately, only to find my personal belongings haphazardly piled at the bedroom door, and the wedding portrait on the wall had been violently torn to shreds and lay in the trash can. Eleanor said I could pick any room I wanted, and this one looked big, so I chose it. Then Eleanor just threw out the extra stuff. Tyler followed close behind, a smug look on his face. "Ethan Vance, this isn't your matrimonial home with Eleanor, is it?" "I didn't know. I am sorry. I'll move my things out right now." If this were before, I would have certainly argued loudly with Eleanor Caldwell right then. But now that I was leaving, who lived in this room had nothing to do with me anymore. I replied indifferently, "No need. You can stay here." Then, in front of him, I threw all my things into the trash can. Just as I was about to enter the room to retrieve my mother's cherished photograph and leave, I found the drawer empty. I frantically knelt on the floor to search, but Tyler stood beside me, looking down at me. "Ethan Vance, are you looking for this?" I looked up at the familiar photo frame in his hand. Just as I was about to stand, I saw his hand loosen, and the photograph shattered into pieces on the floor. "Oops, Ethan Vance, I am so sorry. My hand slipped. I thought this thing was bad luck and might upset the unborn baby in Eleanor's baby bump, so I told her about it." and she said I could do whatever I wanted with it. So, Ethan Vance. Who's the dead person in this picture? Do you know them? I looked at Tyler's feigned innocent face, my patience snapping, and raised my hand to slap him, but before I could touch him, he suddenly fell backward and tumbled down the stairs. Ah, Eleanor, save me. He groaned, clutching his baby bump in pain. Eleanor Caldwell rushed from the kitchen. Seeing Tyler's condition, she furiously ran up and kicked me to the ground, shouting angrily, Ethan Vance. Haven't you caused enough trouble? How much more do you intend to hurt him? Do you want to torment us until our baby is gone? Before I could speak, Tyler was already in tears. Eleanor, if I die, you must still have our child. Please, please protect him well. Eleanor Caldwell listened, her face full of tenderness, and gently helped him to his feet. Don't worry, I won't let anything happen to you, or the baby. With that, she walked towards the villa's exit. As she was leaving, she told the bodyguards at the door, drag Mr. Vance to the storage room to reflect overnight, don't turn on the lights. I looked at her in disbelief, yelling, Eleanor Caldwell, have you forgotten I have claustrophobia? You trying to kill me? Her steps faltered for a moment, but she didn't look back. I know, but you hurt Tyler, so you have to pay a price. With that, she left. The bodyguards, having received their orders, walked towards me, dragged me into the storage room, and as they closed the door, darkness swiftly enveloped me. Just then, a sharp pain shot through my lower abdomen. I then realized that Eleanor Caldwell's kick had landed squarely on my lower body, and now red liquid was flowing out. I frantically rushed to the door, screaming wildly, someone, anyone. My lower body hurts so much, and I am bleeding now. Take me to the hospital, quickly. Hearing this, the bodyguard immediately called Eleanor Caldwell. The woman's cold voice came through, don't believe him. He's definitely faking it. Remember, don't open the door without my orders. The call ended. I curled up on the floor in pain, my body soaked in blood all night long. The next morning, when the housekeeper came to get something, she was terrified by my appearance, and rushed me to the hospital. The doctor who had helped me cancel the IVF treatment saw me, and immediately ordered preparations for surgery. As the cold anesthetic was injected into my body, I heard the joyful voices of nurses in the hallway. Congratulations, Mr. Vance, Ms. Caldwell. Mother and child are safe. At the same time, in the operating room, I was hemorrhaging severely due to the prolonged delay, and the doctors were frantic. What do we do? His wife is dead, and he's suffering from severe internal bleeding. We need a family member's signature. Just as they were at their wits' end, a Maybach pulled up to the hospital entrance, drawing exclamations from the nurses, who's that woman? The director himself came out to greet her. Didn't you see the renowned urologist from Metropolis Heights behind her? They say someone once offered him $5 million to see a patient, but he wouldn't take it. Oh my God, who's her husband? He must be incredibly lucky to marry a woman like that, with both wealth and power. Just then, the operating room door was pushed open, and Vivian Quinn carefully wiped the cold sweat from my forehead. Drive, Miller, I am entrusting my man to you. Don't worry, I guarantee he'll be completely unharmed. A month later, Eleanor Caldwell was hosting the baby's welcome party, when she finally remembered me, so she took a picture of the baby, and sent it to my phone, only to find that she had been blocked. She was certain I was still sulking about that day, and was ready to say a few gentle words to coax me. Just as she was about to take out her phone, her assistant rushed over, holding an invitation. Ms. Caldwell, Mr. Vance is getting married. The date is today. Eleanor Caldwell, in the noisy banquet hall, didn't quite hear clearly. What did you say? Say it again. Married. Who's getting married today? The assistant opened his mouth, but didn't have the courage to repeat it. After a long pause, he stammered, Ms. Caldwell, this morning a wedding invitation was delivered. It's from Mr. Vance. The date is today. The words dropped, and the entire venue fell silent, and Eleanor Caldwell had heard clearly. Her face instantly turned ashen. How is that possible? He's saying Mr. Vance is getting married today. Isn't that the biggest joke? Eleanor Caldwell's face was grim, scaring the assistant into silence. He tremblingly opened the invitation. The woman looked down, seeing words written in red, gilded script, groom, Ethan Vance, bride, Vivian Quinn. The date showed today, but there was no address. Eleanor Caldwell instinctively stumbled back a few steps, her emotions suddenly spiraling out of control. No, this can't be. How could Ethan marry someone else? He's my husband, and we're not divorced. Ethan must still be angry about that day, so he deliberately made this invitation to test my feelings. But I've already said it, I won't get a divorce, never. With that, she frantically pulled out her phone, and, with trembling hands, dialed the pinned number. But what she heard was a cold automated message. Sorry, the number you dialed is switched off. Only then did Eleanor Caldwell realize that for 7 years of marriage, I had sent her good morning and good night messages every single day, no matter how busy work was or how late it got. But for an entire month, I hadn't called her once or sent a single text message. This realization made her tremble uncontrollably. She had to grip a chair just to stand upright. Just then, Tyler walked over and clung to her arm as before, still appearing fragile and innocent. Eleanor, don't worry, it's the baby's welcome party, and everyone is watching. Let's talk about whatever it is later. Maybe Ethan Vance is doing this on purpose, just to embarrass us. Why else would he choose today to send this fake invitation instead of yesterday or tomorrow? He's truly cunning. Tyler had said plenty of sarcastic remarks like that over the past month, but Eleanor Caldwell hadn't found anything wrong with them then. After all, his injury was real, but at this moment, she found it incredibly grating. That was the husband she had loved for 10 years, the man she had sworn to be with for a lifetime when they married. How could she tolerate an intern humiliating him and remain indifferent? At this thought, Eleanor Caldwell abruptly pulled her arm away. Due to the sudden movement, Tyler lost his balance and fell sideways. He accidentally twisted his ankle. The pain made his vision blur, and his face contorted in an instant. Eleanor, what are you doing? My foot hurts so much. Tyler sat on the floor, waiting for Eleanor Caldwell to gently help him up as she usually would. But he waited for a long time in vain. The woman looked at him, her face devoid of the tenderness she once showed, replaced by a coldness in her eyes. Listen, only Ethan Vance is my husband, nothing but a tool who offered himself to bear a child. If I hear you speak ill of him again, I'll have you thrown out of the country immediately. At her words, murmurs immediately erupted around them, all condemning Tyler's behavior as a homewrecker. Some even took out their phones to capture the dramatic scene. Tyler's face fluctuated between pale and green. He wished he could find a place to hide himself, but the piercing pain in his ankle rendered him unable to move. Meanwhile, Eleanor Caldwell's mind replayed the events of the past few days. The more she thought, the more she spiraled into despair. What had she done? First, she got pregnant with another man's child, behind her husband's back. Then she wanted to secretly have the baby, and later she even brought him back to their matrimonial home, letting him stay in their master bedroom. Even worse, she had actually laid hands on him, the man she had once sworn never to make bleed or cry. Yet now, she had done it all. What in the world was she doing? Eleanor Caldwell pushed away the surrounding people in frustration and fiercely grabbed her assistant by the collar. Go find out about the invitation. And where is Mr. Vance now? I need to know his location immediately, by any means necessary. Eleanor Caldwell thought that as long as she found me, she would surely be able to win my forgiveness. If once wasn't enough, then twice. If twice wasn't enough, then 100 times. As long as she changed, she was certain she could win my forgiveness and return to how things were. After 10 years of shared history, she bet she thought I couldn't let go. But the assistant, who had gone and returned, then said something that made her eyes widen. Ms. Caldwell, the Civil Affairs Office said that you and Mr. Vance have already completed the divorce procedures and dissolved the marriage. His current marital status is married. Eleanor Caldwell froze, standing rooted to the spot. The assistant's words echoed repeatedly in her ears. She questioned in disbelief. Divorced? How is that possible? When did I get divorced? Why don't I know about it? The assistant handed Eleanor Caldwell the divorce agreement sent by the other party. Only then did the all-too-familiar signature on it make her suddenly recall the day when she wanted Tyler to stay at home. I had indeed asked her to sign something, but it had clearly been blank. How could it be a divorce agreement? A thought struck her. No. Even if she had signed it, she hadn't gone to the Civil Affairs Office to get a divorce certificate. How could the marriage be considered dissolved then? This discovery filled Eleanor Caldwell with joy. She thought the Civil Affairs Office must have made a mistake and quickly called a friend, who had managed to get their marriage certificate after hours by pulling some strings. The friend answered. Eleanor, Congratulations on finding a new partner and having a baby. Eleanor Caldwell was stunned. What are you talking about? I was just about to ask you about the divorce certificate. The friend was puzzled. Weren't you at the hospital accompanying your new brother in recovery period? When I called you, you said you agreed. I saw you were too busy to come, so I just stamped your papers directly. Only then did Eleanor Caldwell recall receiving a call from this friend 2 days prior. At the time, Tyler had been complaining about the hospital bed being too hard, looking utterly wronged. She had been so preoccupied with comforting him that she only vaguely heard the question over the phone, "Do you agree to this?" She casually replied, "Yes, yes. I recovery period." But she never imagined that it would be agreeing to a divorce. This fact completely overwhelmed Eleanor Caldwell with a profound sense of helplessness, and she slumped into the chair. She couldn't believe that I had actually divorced her. At this thought, the female CEO, once fiercely decisive in business, now had red-rimmed eyes. She continuously murmured, "Ethan, where are you? Can I come find you? Why did you divorce me? Why did you hide it from me? You knew I didn't want a divorce. Are you abandoning me? Ethan, I never stopped loving you. I was wrong. I was truly wrong." The woman's pained appearance made everyone present sigh with regret. The pair, once renowned as the golden couple in their circles, had just broken apart like this. It also made everyone despise Tyler's homewrecker behavior even more, leading many executives' wives to openly curse at him. Tyler, who had never witnessed such a scene, covered his face and limped away from the venue. Just then, a man in the crowd picked up his phone and exclaimed, "Holy cow! Vivian Quinn is getting married today. She's the kind of woman countless men dream of marrying. Beautiful, an amazing figure, and powerful. I never thought she'd actually find happiness." The name struck Eleanor Caldwell's ears like a clap of thunder. She shot up, grabbing the man by the collar. "How do you know? I asked you. How do you know?" Frightened, the man tremblingly showed her the video on his phone. The video showed the man, dressed in a custom-tailored suit, leading the bride in her exquisite bridal gown from a luxurious car. With just one look, Eleanor Caldwell recognized her. Her trembling hand reached out to touch the screen. Just then, the assistant rushed over. "Ms. Caldwell, Mr. Vance has been found. He's holding it in Metropolis Heights." Before he could finish, the woman rushed out like a sharp sword, leaving only one command: deal with Tyler and that child cleanly. Don't let them bother Ethan Vance again. Meanwhile, in the hotel's dressing room, Vivian Quinn placed the last piece of jewelry, a diamond tiara, on her head. She leaned in slightly and whispered in my ear, "Are you ready to marry me, my knight?" Her unique voice made my heart skip a beat, and instantly transported my thoughts back to childhood. Vivian Quinn and I grew up in the same large compound, but she always had a cold expression, treating everyone the same way, only she always liked to cling to me. She would insist I escort her to and from school. Whenever I was reluctant, she would always call me knight, my knight. Later, I went to a university in the South, while she went abroad. We had no contact for 4 full years. It was during this time that I met Eleanor Caldwell, and fell in love with her. After that, I never saw Vivian Quinn again. She seemed to deliberately avoid all places where Eleanor Caldwell and I might appear. It wasn't until the night before the wedding that I received a drunken call from Vivian Quinn. She cried and said, "Knight, please don't marry her. If *****ing love you. I've loved you for so many years." It was then that I learned of her feelings over all those years. But at the time, I couldn't reciprocate. After a long while, the woman's despondent voice came through the phone again. "What am I even saying? Ethan Vance, I wish you a happy marriage. Be sure to be happy. And there's one more thing I have to say. If you ever get divorced, call me immediately. I'd be more than happy." Thinking this, I got up and embraced the somewhat cautious woman. "I've been ready for a long time, darling Tilda." Then I kissed her lips. Vivian Quinn seemed unprepared for my directness. Her body instantly stiffened. Just as I ended the kiss, she grabbed my waist and deepened it. Suddenly, the lounge door was violently thrown open. A figure darted between Vivian Quinn and me, forcibly separating us. "Don't touch him." I almost stumbled, and Vivian Quinn quickly came forward to check if I was hurt. Thankfully, there was nothing serious. It was then that I recognized the disheveled woman in front of me as Eleanor Caldwell. I chuckled. "What's wrong, Ms. Caldwell? Are you in a hurry to give me a wedding gift? Please head to the lobby on the 1st floor. Thank you. Eleanor Caldwell seemed to have never expected me to say something like that, and she froze instantly. No, that's not it, Ethan. I came to take you home. Home. I scoffed. What home? Eleanor Caldwell, don't forget, we're already divorced. We even have the certificate. What home are you talking about? Her face instantly paled. No, that's not true, Ethan. I never thought about divorce. You tricked me into signing that. I laughed in anger. Eleanor Caldwell, how can you even say that? How could I trick a grown woman like you into signing something, or into agreeing to get a divorce certificate? If you can't remember, let me remind you, it was because you were busy cooking for your young lover, because you were busy trying to make your young lover happy. Eleanor Caldwell's eyes immediately reddened. Yes, I admit it, Ethan. I was momentarily blinded by passion, and that's why, as she spoke, she cautiously stepped towards me, reaching out to take my hand, but Vivian Quinn, standing beside me, delivered a sharp slap that sent her sprawling to the ground. Eleanor Caldwell, I haven't even settled accounts with you yet, and you've conveniently delivered yourself. Perfect. Let's settle all our old and new scores at once. As she spoke, she raised her hand and slapped her again. If you couldn't love him properly, if you couldn't stay faithful, then why did you lead him on? Do you know how many people wanted to marry him? Slap after slap, Vivian Quinn showed no mercy. I knew she was hurting for me, and also frustrated with herself. Eleanor Caldwell, you despicable woman. You locked your own husband in a cramped studio apartment for an outside man, and even hit him. I truly despise you. If I had known this day would come, 7 years ago I would have snatched Ethan Vance away on his wedding day, no matter what. Eleanor Caldwell, who had been lying motionless on the ground, was provoked by these words, her eyes turning bloodshot. Snatch him. You'd have to have the ability. I am telling you, Ethan Vance loves me, only me. He's just angry right now, that's why he's marrying you. Sooner or later, I'll win him back. You just wait and cry. Vivian Quinn retorted furiously. You don't even deserve to speak his name. I love him countless times more than you do. Rest assured, I'll never give you that chance. Seeing my woman infuriated by an irrelevant person, I naturally couldn't tolerate it. I stepped forward and gently helped Vivian Quinn to her feet, then took a wet wipe to clean the back of her hand, where she had touched Eleanor Caldwell. Then I looked down at the disheveled Eleanor Caldwell on the floor. Eleanor Caldwell, what right do you have to speak of loving me? Do you know, the first time I saw you and Tyler at the hospital, I felt like I was going insane that day, yet I still had to pretend to be magnanimous and forgiving in front of you, so I swallowed my bitterness. But that day, I told myself I could only forgive you once, so when I saw you with him again later, I already stopped loving you. Eleanor Caldwell's eyes suddenly welled up, and she knelt on the ground. Ethan, I know I made a mistake. I truly did. I let you down. I betrayed the sake of our years together. I just came to apologize to you. Will you come home with me? Let's start over, go back to how we were in college. I swear to you I've cut ties with Tyler, and even that child has been dealt with. I promise no one will ever come between us again. I know you won't forgive me, but please, just give me a chance to make amends, okay? Eleanor Caldwell knelt on the ground, clutching my pant leg, almost pleading. I stared coldly at her. It's impossible, Eleanor Caldwell. It will never be possible. Do you know, my low sperm count has been cured. Right on the day I saw you and Tyler at the hospital. Eleanor Caldwell exclaimed. You what did you say? Ethan, you are better, aren't you? We can have our own child, can't we? Watching her like this, I laughed until my whole body trembled. Too bad. I don't want you anymore. Eleanor Caldwell shook her head in despair. No, that's impossible. Ethan, you are just angry with me, right? I replied coldly. No, because I find you dirty. Eleanor Caldwell looked as if struck by lightning, slumping to the ground, covering her face and sobbing. Vivian Quinn immediately called the bodyguards, but Eleanor Caldwell clung to my leg, refusing to let go. Ethan, I was wrong. I was truly wrong. Please don't marry him, okay? I'm begging you. I truly can't accept you marrying someone else. I scoffed. Didn't you say I was 30 this year and no one else would want me? But Eleanor Caldwell, your love would fade with time. Why would I repeat that mistake? She, on the other hand, has loved me for many years, and she's never changed. You see, I deserve better, you don't." After speaking, I signaled for the bodyguards to drag her away, and my wedding officially began amidst laughter and cheers. A sea of flowers filled the sky. It was a century wedding that Vivian Quinn had lavishly funded for me. I stood at the entrance, looking at the woman in the distance, who only had eyes for me. I had expected to walk alone since both my parents had passed away, but then Mom Helen stood beside me. "Ethan, I'll walk you down the aisle. From now on, I'm your mom. If Vivian ever makes you unhappy, tell me, and I'll teach that troublemaker a lesson." Tears welled up in my eyes, and only then did I understand. True love means giving you all the security you need, and her family would embrace him completely, cherishing you wholeheartedly. As the music started, I, dressed in a tuxedo, walked forward resolutely amidst everyone's blessings. Meanwhile, Eleanor Caldwell, blocked by bodyguards below, watched me walk towards another woman. She could no longer hold back and burst into tears. But no one cared. Vivian Quinn looked at me, and the woman who was always dynamic and authoritative choked up to the point of being speechless. I stepped forward and hugged her tightly. I knew we had missed out on 10 years, and I knew she had waited for me for 10 years. Fortunately, we finally found our happiness. Then Vivian Quinn knelt and slipped a large diamond ring onto my finger, and this diamond ring was larger than the 2 rings Eleanor Caldwell had given me combined. Next, Vivian Quinn and I exchanged rings and kissed each other, witnessed by everyone present. After the wedding, we traveled to various countries for our honeymoon, and I also established my own studio. Life gradually returned to peace, and I put everything in Coastal Bay behind me. Eleanor Caldwell, however, was the opposite. She hadn't wanted to go to the college reunion, but thinking there was a 1 in 10,000 chance of seeing me, she decided to try. The result was, of course, disappointment. A classmate who had gone abroad right after graduation didn't know we were divorced, so he raised his glass and suddenly asked, "How are things with you and Ethan Vance? You must have several kids by now. I'd say you built everything from nothing. It's truly remarkable what you've achieved today." Eleanor Caldwell drank silently, murmuring, "Really? I forgot." The other person was puzzled. "You forgot? You used to run from east of town to west of town just to see him." That one sentence awakened Eleanor Caldwell. Yes, she had forgotten how she had tried with all her might, stood on tiptoes to climb over the gated community, just to catch a glimpse of me, forgotten how she once lived in a cramped studio apartment, and said she wanted to give me a big home, forgotten how, when we married, we were penniless, and she said she wanted nothing but for me to always be by her side. But now, she had forgotten it all. Later, my college roommate called me, and told me about it. He also said that since that day, no one had seen Eleanor Caldwell again. She transferred all her company assets and deposited all the money into my account. "Do you hate her?" my roommate asked. I shook my head. Neither hate nor love, because she's no longer worth any of my emotions. I thought life would continue peacefully like this, but then one day on my way home from work, my path was suddenly blocked by Tyler, who rushed out, "Ethan Vance, I was wrong. Please tell Ms. Caldwell to let me come back. I shouldn't have framed you, shouldn't have ruined your relationship with Ms. Caldwell. That place isn't fit for humans. The child didn't make it last month and died. I don't want to be in that truly brutal place." I shook my head, telling him I was powerless. Just as I was about to turn, he suddenly pulled out a dagger. "You are forcing me, Ethan Vance. If I can't live well, neither will you." In that instant, a figure shielded me, and the blade plunged deep into Eleanor Caldwell's lower abdomen. Tyler, too, was scared and cried out in shock. Rooted to the spot, I quickly took off my jacket to try and stop the bleeding, but it was no use. Yet Eleanor Caldwell smiled. "Ethan, finally, I'm free. I just still owe you an apology for losing you through the long years, an apology for making you bleed or cry. I failed to protect you." A week later, Eleanor Caldwell's funeral was simply held, and Tyler was sentenced to 20 years in prison for intentional homicide. I was there on the day of the sentencing. Afterward, Vivian Quinn said nothing, just held my hand and said, "Let's go home." I nodded, but before we had walked a few steps, she felt a wave of dizziness. I quickly rushed her to the hospital. After a thorough examination, the doctor smiled and said, "Congratulations, Mr. Vance, your wife is pregnant." I belatedly touched her baby bump, having thought that due to excessive alcohol consumption and the previous severe internal bleeding, I would never have my own child in this life. Unexpectedly, a new life had quietly arrived. Vivian Quinn and I embraced each other, crying. I thought my life was finally complete.